The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar, The Magic of Gamification in Microsoft Dynamics 365 CRM with our solution, the Gamifics365. Revitalizing Dynamics 365 CRM operations with fun games and activities. Now, before we move ahead, let me outline the webinar logistics. Lines of all the participants will be muted throughout the session. In case any question arises in your mind, please feel free to ask them with the help of the chat window. And I assure you that I'll try to answer most of the questions, if not all, depending on the time constraints. Now, my name is Ninad, and I'm the Business Development Manager at iNogic. Speaking of iNogic, we are leading service provider and ISV for past more than a decade. We have exclusive Dynamics 365 products. We are very much active in the Dynamics 365 community, and our blogs are extremely popular and also appreciated by the community. We truly believe in the philosophy of one-click solutions, which is building productivity apps that reduces multiple steps which otherwise a CRM user has to take. Now, as you can see on the slide, we have various applications on the offering. I would like to take a moment and very briefly describe some of them. Maplytics. Maplytics is certified for Microsoft Dynamics 365 and helps businesses around the world to plot, plan, visualize, and analyze Dynamics CRM data on a map. It offers seamless mapping services. Key features include managing territories, route optimization, smart appointment planner, and many more. One of my favorite applications from the bouquet is the subscription and recurring billing management. It provides a robust platform for all the subscription-based businesses to seamlessly manage, streamline subscription and recurring billing processes within the Dynamics 365 CRM. Another pearl that we have is Map My Relationships. It's a productivity control that provides mind map view of Dynamics 365 CRM data on a form. It helps the users to visualize connections and relationships between entities or any related records in a single view. Apart from developing these awesome applications, we are also an SI. We do assist partners and customers with offshore development services. So in case you have any requirement ranging from customization to probably a world-changing idea, I would request you to get in touch with us on crm@inogic.com. That's crm@inogic.com. So what shall we be discussing today? We'll start with the impact of the gamification. Then we'll talk about some of the key features provided by our solution, the Gamifics365, followed by a very small yet effective demonstration, and followed by the Q&A session. All work, no play makes work life boring. And when work life is boring, then there is minimum productivity. But with engaging games and activities, daily routine work life can be made exciting and entertaining. A perfectly gamified CRM can be used to engage and motivate the users to give their best every day. This will definitely result in the daily work becoming more engaging and fun with gamification. No wonder Many surveys indicate that companies with organized and effective gamification tends to make 7x profit compared to the companies who haven't implemented gamification. Well, why just talk about companies? A staggering 90% employees say gamification makes them more productive at work. Now, let's face it, games are fun, right? And games motivates and encourages individuals to do their best. So it's a no surprise that around 70% of the global 2000 companies have adopted gamification elements in their workplaces to improve productivity of their workforces. Gamification is one such concept which has a huge potential to improve the productivity rate. Today, gamification has become an integral part of many business processes within the organization, whether it's sales, marketing, customer service, product development, and so on. Now, this has definitely opened many avenues, and the Dynamics 365 CRM gamification is one of them. Excuse me. So let's have a quick peek at some of the key features of Gamifics 365. Well, no wonder we have games within Gamifics 365. With Gamifics 365, we can create different types of engaging games like challenges, face-off, and race for CRM users. Well, we'll definitely talk about what's present within the challenge, within the face-off, and race during the live demonstration. The game rules. Yep, every game must be played within the rules. Yes, we definitely want the users to win, but the game needs to be played by the rules. With game rules, the administrator can set rules and conditions for the games to be played on individual as well as the team level. The next is badges and rewards. To boost the confidence and to provide that extra bit of inspiration, bestow badges and rewards to motivate the players that will definitely and eventually translate to achieving the organizational goals. We do have scoreboards and leaderboards where the players can view their performance on the real time through personalized scoreboards and leaderboards. And to top it all, we also have a mobile app that enables the players to join the game and track performance through mobile app. Now, I'm just keeping one more feature under the wrap, and by the end of the demonstration, I'll definitely reveal the another feature that is probably a game changer when it comes to gamification. With that being said, let's see the Gamifics 365 in action. Now, for today's webinar, I have already installed the Gamifics 365 solution and have configured it with lots and lots of games and game rules. Of course, due to time constraint, we'll be looking at the basic level of the games and the game rules, but I think it would be giving a good gist about the potential the gamification and Gamifics 365 has to offer. Let me just quickly switch to my CRM window. So here I have logged in as an administrator. Now I can see the leaderboards right here. I can see all the games that are being played, and I can also see a Cold Calls Warrior game that we'll be looking at extensively today, by the way. And I can see multiple players having multiple points. So I can see Brian, who is right now at number 1. We have got Beverly. Let me just refresh this page just in case if anyone has added any more points to it. Okay, let me sign in, no worries. And let me select the appropriate game. Oh yes, there was certain change. So Beverly is working very hard, and Beverly has already crossed Brian with 1100 points, standing at position number 1. Right here under the administrations, we also have Gamifics 365 Studio, which I have opened it in a separate tab for you. And that's where we can see all the rules. Now, as we can see on the screen, I have configured about 113 rules. Now, not necessarily that every organization might have 113 rules or such high number of rules. This is just for the demonstration purpose. We'll be definitely touch basing only one of the rules just to get a gist of how the rules are working. Right here, we can view the rule, we can clone the rule, we can activate, deactivate. Now, this feature comes really handy, especially if you want a certain rule to be applied for a certain period of time. So we can just activate that particular rule, and for the rest of the period, we can deactivate and so on. So right under the Gamifics365 Studio, we also have games. So let me just open one of the game, and here is the game that I was talking about, the Cold Calls Warrior. Now, before I go in the details of the cold call warriors, let's take a moment. Let's think about what exactly can be achieved with Gamifix 365. Now, with Gamifix 365, you think of anything or everything within the CRM, the entities, the events that are associated with the entities, and you can create a game out of it. Well, the possibilities are endless. We can have a game, let's say for a sales agent or the phone calling agent, the one that we'll be talking about, and we can reward them points as and when they make certain phone calls. We can create a separate game for sales representatives who are qualifying the lead, who are actually closing the leads, and so on. We can also have a separate game for service representatives, and we can reward them as in when they are closing cases. We can also uh, award different points depending upon the priority of the case that are being closed. So like I said, the possibilities are endless when it comes to Gamifix 365. For today's demonstration, I'm going to use one of the game, the Cold Calls Warrior. Now I've tried to keep the name of the game as simple as possible, and I think we got a gist of what the game would be. The idea is we have certain agents who are doing lots of cold callings, and we want to award them points for every phone call that they are making, and then eventually entering that data within the CRM with certain points. Now, there is one small condition that I've applied here. And the condition is uh, the phone call should be done in the outgoing direction and not in the incoming direction. Great. So for simplicity as well, what I'll be doing is I've already opened one of the tabs where I've got a blank new game, and I'll be using the one of the Windows features that are available. I'm keeping both the screens side by side. So on the left hand side, you can see a game which is already configured, and on your right hand side, we can see what are the different options that are available when you're configuring a new game. So let's start with the cold call warriors. I provided with the name. You can also provide an optional description. Then we have the start date and the end date that determines the duration of the game. The next one is pretty interesting. We have got the type of the game. Now here I have set the type of the game as a challenge. However, if I just go to the right side window, I'll just show the different types of the games that you can create. As I had mentioned during the introduction, we have the challenge, we have the face off, and we have the race. But what exactly are these three types of games? Well, the face off, if I just select a face off, the face off is a game type that can be played only between a couple of users or between two users, especially when you want to determine who's numero uno, who is number one. However, for the challenge and for the race, you may notice that the game can be played between multiple users, multiple teams, and no surprises here, we do support fantasy teams as well. Well, I'm sure everyone is aware about fantasy teams. It has taken the world by the storm, and we have tried to replicate the same fun within the CRM. Now, the fantasy team actually works wonders. Imagine that there's a race going on between multiple users of the sales team. Now, these sales team members are moving mountains to achieve and probably overachieve the target. So the fun lies within the sales team. Every sales team member might be checking their ranking, their points, on a weekly, daily, or even hourly basis. But what about the other teams which are working in the organization? The accounts team, the operations team, and the many such other teams might just be missing the fun. No worries. The fantasy team is their key to fun. With Fantasy Team, any non-participating CRM user can create their own teams with the players that they think are the best, and then even the non-participating user can enjoy the fun of the games. Interesting, isn't it? Let's move to the next attribute, that's behavior of the game. Now, for Cold Call Warriors, I have set the behavior of the game as public. However, if I scroll down and if I see there are two options available, which is basically private and public. So when you select the behavior of the game as private, the creator of the game has to add the players by using the third tab. So the administrator or the game creator will have to add the players. However, if we keep the behavior of the game as public, then the CRM user with a certain condition will be able to join the game voluntarily. Now, what's the condition that I'm talking about? Well, the condition is allowed rules. What exactly is present within the allowed rules? Well, the allowed rules enables that the CRM user has a necessary role to join the game. Now, this comes in handy in situation like, let's say, if the game is about achieving sales target, then it is imperative that the game should be played among CRM user who has any sales related role. On the other hand, if the game is being played between the service rep, then appropriate role should be present to join that particular game. Okay, the last attribute is allow players to join the game if the game is in progress. Now, there's one more thing which is target. Just 1 minute before. Let me finish with the game in progress first. So, allow players to join the game if the game is already in progress. This flag, if set, then it ensures that any CRM user doesn't miss the fun bus, even if the game is already in progress. So one thing that I just missed out is the target. So the target is basically applicable when we are talking about a race. If I just go to challenge, the target is gone. The challenge is like just going on till the time the end date is not hitting, and whoever scores the more, that will be the winner. However, when we talk about a race has a starting point, and a race at certain point also ends, and that ending point can be defined as the target. Works well, perfect. So with that, let me just close the new games and let me go to the next one, which is the game rules. Probably the heart of any game. The rules, like I've mentioned, the rules are basically set by the creator of the game. Now, as we can see on screen right now, we have got one rule associated with this game, the GR, the game rule for Cold Calls Warrior. Before I hit on this rule and deep dive in detail, let me give you an example of how the rules are working. Number one is you can set multiple rules for a single game. Let's take a real world example. Let's say an organization wants to increase the number of sale in, let's say, the US region. They are performing pretty well in the Asia Pacific. They are performing pretty well in the other areas, but they want to improve the sales for the US region. So we can create a couple of rules. Let's say that if a lead is being closed from an Asia Pacific region, let's say the sales rep is getting 500 points, whereas if a lead is being closed from a US region, the sales representative is going to get 1000 points. Is that easily achievable? Well, all you need to do is just create a couple of rules and add it right here under the game, and our solution will take care of it seamlessly. Now, let's hit on the existing rule. Trying to replicate what we did with the games. So I also have a blank rule right here. Just putting it up right across. Perfect. So on the left hand side, we have got an existing rule, the game rule for cold call warrior. And on the right hand side, we'll try to recreate the same rule with looking at all the opportunities or all the options that are available. So the idea behind this game was to award 100 points every time a phone call record entity or a phone call entity record is being created with outgoing direction. So we have selected the entity name as phone call and the message as create. However, a few moments back, I had mentioned that you can think of anything and everything. All the entities are being supported for Gamifics365. All the events associated with all the entities are present. So let's me select a phone call and I'll just go ahead and we can then select the appropriate event for that particular entity. So create, and which date should be used. Let's say I want to use the created on date, and who should get the score. Amazing feature of Gamifix 365. You can create, you can give it to created by, you can give it to the owning user, depending upon your business use cases. And comes the next one, which is calculate score by. Now, if I recollect, I just mentioned that I want to award 100 points for every phone call entity record. So here it's quite simple. I'll just go ahead, hit it as fixed points and put it as 100. However, in the real world, you might face a scenario where you want to use a field which is present within the CRM. Let's say, for example, the estimated budget. A sales representative closing a lead, I want to use the estimated budget value. All we need to do is just select the actual field value and then select the appropriate field out of it. Now, since I have selected the phone call, appropriate fields are being shown. Had it been the case that I had selected it for lead, appropriate fields would be available. So let's go ahead, let's hit it as fixed points and 100. And the last one and the most interesting one, filter the records for which this rule must apply. Now, if I just go ahead, make it as simple and create a rule, that would be that would mean that for every phone call entity record being created, 100 points is added. But the condition is missing. The condition was that it should be in the outgoing direction. So here I have to select advanced, just like I have selected right here, advanced, and provide the fetch XML. Just go to the advanced file, download the fetch XML, copy and paste it here as I have pasted it, where it mentions the direction, which is outgoing. And if the condition is satisfied, then only the values would be awarded. So that's how easy it is to select the, to create the game rules right here within the Gamifix 365. So once you have the game details, game rules, you can just go ahead and start the game, or just go live with the game. Since the game is already in progress, here it shows it as pause game. Let's look at the next tab and let's see if we have certain players. So as we had seen, we have a couple of players who are playing this game. Beverly, who is currently leading with 1100 points, and Brian is trying to catch up with Beverly with 1000 points. So I'm going to do an interesting thing here. In a separate window, I have already logged in as Beverly, and I'll be creating a phone call record right in front of you. And we'll come back and we'll check if the value changes in the real time. So let's go back to the new window where I have logged in as Beverly, and let's create a phone call entity. So let's say I want to do a sales pitch for the subscription and recurring billing management, my personal favorite, and I'm selecting a customer and just putting a number. I'm ensuring that I'm adhering to the condition, which is direction as outgoing, and I'm just hitting on save and close. So my record is present. I have created a phone call entity record with the outgoing direction. So let me go back to my CRM where I've got the Gamifix. Let's give the solution a couple of moments. And after a couple of moments, what I'm expecting is once I hit on refresh, this number should change. Okay, let's wait for a couple of moments. Well, I hope I had selected the appropriate direction. Oh yes, it was. And here we can see the points being changed from 1100 to 1200 because all the conditions were followed. Now, as and when the players start scoring, it's also imperative that you provide them with good badges. So right here under the administration, we have badges. I've opened it for your convenience, and we have created multiple badges, whether it's bronze, gold, gold pro, platinum, silver, and silver pro. And once we have the badges available, we can then use those badges within the games right here. So here I have mentioned that every time a player scores 500 points, please award him the bronze badge. Every time a player scores 750, award him with silver point, silver badge. And every time a person scores or a player scores 1500, award him or her with the gold badge. And if I just go to the earn badges and rewards, you may notice that Beverly has the bronze badge. Beverly also has the silver because I think she was lying somewhere at 1200. And Brian was around at 1000. So even Brian has got both these badges. So let's see the earn points, my personal favorite tab. Now we saw that Beverly has 1200 points. That means, as per my calculation, she has done about 12 phone calls with outgoing direction. So it's very easy to track with the help of the record URL. So every time a point is awarded, you can find the record URL, just open it up and you will find why 100 points were awarded to Beverly in this particular case. So that's because she had made a sales pitch call or map my relationship with all the details into it. Now, since we're talking about Beverly, let me just go back to Beverly's login and let me try to open up Beverly's Gamifics365. What a beautiful visualization. I simply love this visualization. At the top, we have got the avatar. She can select her own avatars. She gets a glimpse of where she's standing, the total earned points, the games that she has played, the badges that she has earned, and we also have the activities or the timeline, which basically gives her the information about the points that she has scored in for today. She also gets to see all her badges, and the motivation kicks in here, the badges to earn. So if I have earned 7 badges, I can still go ahead and I can outperform the other guys and go ahead and claim all these badges. If I just scroll down a bit, you can see Beverly a part of all these games. And here is the cold call warriors where she's standing right here at the #1 position. Uh, just don't get confused. Beverly did have 1200 points. I missed to refresh the page. So let me select the appropriate game for you. And here's the 1200 points in the real time. Now, I can understand one question. I can read the mind of sorts. So not every time Beverly has the time to come back here, open the web page, and see where she's standing. Hey Ninad, can you provide me with a quicker way? Well, the answer is yes. Uh, the key feature was a mobile app. So for your convenience, I already have. I'm trying to mirror my mobile in the real time. Do excuse me if, because it's my mobile phone, there might be a chance you might just get. I'll try to be quick. So here's my power apps. And I'll go within the all games, all apps, and here's my Gamifics365. Now, what you're seeing on screen is the actual mirroring. I'm tapping on all these things, and you are actually looking at my mobile screen. So a similar interface at the top, you have the avatar. Beverly can change the avatar as well. gives a gist about everything that we saw on the web portal as well, the games played, the points earned, the badges that she has, and so on. I'll go back. I can see all the points that she has scored today. I can go through the games, and if I tap on a certain game, something like a code called Warriors, here's my leaderboard. Beverly, who is currently standing at number one. Now, let me just give you a psychological trick. Now, as a user, when I'm looking at this particular leaderboard with my name at number one, I double my efforts so that I remain at that position. And if I'm Brian in this case, I probably might triple my efforts because I know that in this case, I'm just 2 steps away from the number one position. I'm standing at 1000 points. I just need to make 3 more phone calls and then I'll be going to number one. The motivation kicks in this way. And if I go back to the home screen, I have a tab which says leaderboard. I can find the information right here itself where I am standing within all the different games. Now, going back to the web portal might not be an easy task from a sales point of view. I can vouch for that because I have to do a lot of email activities. I have to catch up with many of my prospects. I have to conduct the webinar. So I might just not have time to come back and look at the web portal. But hey, if it's there in my mobile, I'm on a lunch break. I'm on a traveling my way to the customer, just a couple of minutes, and I can, hey, I'm just 1 step away, I'm just 2 steps away. A huge amount of motivation can be kicked in. Great. Let me just go back and let me, as I had promised you at the beginning of the webinar, that we do have one feature which I have kept it under the wrap, and that feature is we also have the ability to display all of this information to an external display unit, maybe something like a television. Now, of course, I am because of technical constraints, I might not be able to demonstrate the television feature. However, for a minute, let's close our eyes. Let's imagine this scenario. We are standing right on my office floor, or you are standing on your office floor. Perfect. Imagine the sales team or the service team sitting right under a huge display, and that display is getting refreshed after a certain period of time, and the scores are going up and down for every player as and when the player is actually performing his day-to-day actions. Tremendous amount of environment and tremendous amount of enthusiasm on the floor, because I know another couple of phone calls, I am number one. Another 5 phone calls, someone is going to beat me. So it actually creates a huge impact when you have a external display that is actually displaying the performances of the players on a periodic basis. Doesn't matter how many games you have within the organization. It's a kind of carousel, just goes on for every game and every player that is present within that particular game. Now, let's open the eyes. I'm sure you might be imagining a lot of things. Now, a quick question that comes in my mind is, with all this being said and done, do you really can you imagine in which activity the Gamifics365 can be used in your organization to motivate the players? Let me just very quickly launch a poll for you. Now, I'm sure on your screen you might have got a question: in your organization, which activity do you think can be motivated with gamification using Gamifics365? You have about 4 options: whether you can motivate the agents for more phone calls, motivating service reps, or sales rep for lead qualification, service rep for case closures, or multiple possibilities. Take a few seconds, think about it, and just cast your votes. Cast your vote. Sorry. Oh wow, 2 times in a row, right? So this is the second instance where I've got 100% vote for only one option, which is multiple possibilities. My personal favorite. This can be applied anywhere, everywhere. So you have anything within your CRM? Yes, we can use Gamifics365 for motivating it. Thank you for taking the time and casting the vote. So let me go back to my presentation. Perfect. So before I open the floor for the questions, let me very quickly jot down and help you out with the most commonly asked questions whenever I'm in the customer demonstrations. How will the Gamifix 365 benefit my CRM users? Well, I have invested almost half an hour along with you guys to display what benefit the Gamifix 365 will bring to the table. However, if you still want the specific one, well, Gamifix 365 makes the CRM daily routine work fun for the users. It can also be used for rapid development of skill sets and above all, encouraging team building. Remember the fantasy teams? Tremendous team building exercise as far as I'm concerned. Can we create customized games with Gamifix 365? Definitely yes. You just name it, you just name the scenario, and we can definitely create a customized game with our solution. Is I'm sorry. Is Gamifix 365 compatible across multiple devices? Definitely yes. It works very well, beautifully on the web, on the mobile as displayed. It also works fine on tablets as well. Well, the next two questions: what Microsoft Dynamics product do you support, and how do you get started? Just a couple of moments. The answers are present on the next slides. But before I move to the next one, the Gamifix 365 is available in the form of Dynamics 365 online as a part of the deployment, whereas the supported versions are Microsoft Dynamics 365 version 9.0 onwards, and of course on the Dataverse. Okay, then the floor is yours. Any questions, any queries, please use the chat window and I'll be very, very, very happy to answer them. Can we have multiple games? Oh yes, we definitely can have multiple games. Definitely yes. How many days of trial will I get? Well, that's just a quick heads up. We have this answer for the next slide, but since you asked, with iLogic you get a fully functional 15 days trial of the Gamifix 365. Does this work with on-prem or only in the cloud? Like I had mentioned a couple of moments back, it's currently available for Dynamics 365 online. But hey, thank you for that particular question. That gives me a booster to go back to my product development team, ask whether we can, in the future, of course, not immediate basis. In the future, if we can come up with an on-prem kind of thing where Gamifix can work on-prem, but today it's available with Dynamics 365 online. Okay, great. Now we also have a separate solution, to be honest, the user adoption monitor. It's a part of the same family. However, the idea behind this is with Gamifix 365, the organizations can implement Gamifix 365 for motivating the users to adopt more and more of the CRM, put up all the data right within the CRM, award them for doing their day-to-day CRM tasks. But once you have motivated, it's equally important for the organizations to keep a track whether their motivational efforts are being invested in the correct direction or not, whether the users are actually adopting the CRM. And that's where our solution, user adoption monitor, is very, very handy. And the best part is, with the implementation of Gamifix 365, we are offering user adoption monitor at no additional cost. So use the Gamifics365, motivate the users, and then use the user adoption monitor at no additional cost to check if the CRM is being adopted by the users. Interesting, right? And here's the answer. What next? Impressed with Gamifics365? Want to have a hands-on? Want to have a trial? Go to our website www.inogic.com, or you can also visit Microsoft AppSource, download Gamifix365, also download User Adoption Monitor. All the trials fully functional, no restrictions, fully functional for 15 days. Once you are downloading the solution, drop an email to crm@inogic.com, and we will be very, very happy to assist you in configuring these solutions as per your business use cases, so you can invest the entire 15 days trial in actually experiencing the benefits and the value that these solutions bring to the organization.